Yes, you are now one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself because you are now tuned into the show where you learn to define, first of all, what success means for you, what that's going to look like in your own life, and then how to actually go out and achieve that success. We're going to help you create authentic power in your life so you can be someone other people want to listen to, follow, advocate for, not to mention we're going to be giving you a new angle, a new perspective on different personal growth topics to put you in a position to win in life. If all that sounds good to you, you're in the right spot. Welcome to the Sprouting Success Podcast. My name is Remy Ellis. I'm your host today, and I'm your host every day. Today's topic is how to deal with toxic people. Yes, I think this is very timely and will serve you well if applied in your daily life. How to deal with toxic people. Now, back in episode 14 of this show, I gave you the three types of people to avoid. Remember, the unhappy, the unmotivated complainer, and the liar. Today's episode is a distant relative to episode 14 because when we talk about toxic people, they pretty much exemplify all those traits that we covered in episode 14. Everything you'd want to avoid embodied into one person. Really, really unpleasant, and that's what we're getting into today with toxic people. And I think it's important to talk about how to proactively and effectively deal with toxic people because, as we all know, you're going to come up against these people at every turn. But also, as we get into it today, check yourself as we get into talking about dealing with difficult people. Make sure you're not that person that's wreaking havoc, that's spewing negativity into the world. Make sure you're not that toxic person. Do not be the reason this episode exists. Let's get a quick definition of the word toxic. Poisonous, very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive way. For the sake of today's conversation, let's say that a toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upsets other people. Does that sound like anyone you know? This is really difficult because we are such social beings and our lives are pretty much just one endless interaction with other people. And there's no real way to totally avoid any and all toxic people. It's impossible. So they're going to pop up from now and then. How can you put yourself in a position to defend, to block, to negate that toxic venom that they spew? Now, I'm hoping that this person is someone you can move away from easily, shake your head at, and just think, man, I'm glad I'm not them, or I'm glad I don't need to be around them. Maybe a friend of a friend you just met at a social gathering or a party, you just step back and think, man, I would not choose to associate with this person on my own. Now, I'm hoping that's the extent of your exposure to toxic people, but it might not be. What if it's your boss? What if it's a member of your family? What if it's, dare I say it, a roommate? You won't always be able to separate yourself so quickly and easily from these types of people. And that's the genesis of today's episode, dealing with toxic people, creating a shield for yourself, cutting through the negativity. Let's get into it. Once again, today's topic, how to deal with toxic people. Point number 1, out-energy them. In any human interaction between two people, the person with the stronger presence, the one radiating a stronger energy, wins. So, when you find yourself face to face with a toxic person, you must overpower their negativity with positivity. And this sounds a bit silly, but I promise you it works. If you can overwhelm them with positivity and confidence, you're going to win out. You're going to need to be sturdy now. This person has likely had years of practice of being toxic, and you aren't easily going to beat them in just 1-2 minute conversation, most likely. But if you can wear them down, consistently battle their negativity with positivity, it will eventually set in for them that you are not someone that can be infected, and you aren't worth the trouble to poison, because you're just so positive, and their energy shrinks when they're around you. It won't come around you anymore, and that is what we want. Now, that positivity from you needs to be pure as well, because their toxic behavior likely stems from some serious internal issues or things that they need to work through, and that's a strong force. So make sure your force is stronger. Make sure your positive outweighs their negative. Make sure your light outshines their shade, because you know they're going to throw some shade. This leads me nicely into point number 2, which is create an environment where toxic people cannot exist. I watch a lot of nature documentaries. I don't really watch normal television or shows, but I do watch a lot of nature documentaries, and one of the things I'm most impressed is the resilience of certain species of life, or how certain species have evolved and adapted to fit their environments so well. When the environment supports the life thrives. Well, your toxic person is no different. If you exist in an environment that a toxic person can overtake, guess what? They probably will. They feed off weakness, passive people, defensive people. So avoid playing by their rules and avoid playing to their strengths. They exist in a negative reality, and that's not where you exist. Make yourself unavailable to their wrath. It's interesting, most times toxic people need a vessel which to gather their strength and grow their negativity on. They need someone to prey on to make themselves powerful. And in some respects, they only have power because they can get a reaction out of people. It's similar to how a bully operates. So do not be their host. Do not be welcoming to them. Reject their energy and create an environment that is inhospitable to them. If this toxic person is a cactus, be the Arctic tundra. Point number 3, call them out. Now, I've thought a lot about this last point. Is it really worth calling someone out for being toxic? I mean, they likely know their behavior is rubbing people the wrong way. It's how they've gotten to where they are now. And likely everyone else knows who they are. Wouldn't that just be you causing a scene? Yes, but you should do it anyway. By calling them out, you make it known that you are not the type of person that will tolerate them and all of their issues. You need to understand that, first of all, it's not on you, none of it. The reasons they are the way they are, their emotions, their actions, their words, that's all their deal. But when the negativity affects your life and your energy, that's where you need to draw the line and let it be known that you aren't someone that they can overtake. You need to polarize yourself against this toxic person. So personify everything that they're not. That's why points 1 and 2 are so important. If you can out-energy a toxic person and create an environment that they just can't exist in, you shouldn't even have to call them out. But if all your efforts up until this point have failed, tell them the deal. You are negative, I am positive. You are darkness, I am light. You're a talker, I'm a doer. Everything you represent, I represent the opposite. I'm playing a different game, a game you can't win even if you tried. Recap today's topic, which is how to deal with toxic people. Point number 1, out-energy them. In any human interaction between two people, the person with the stronger presence, the one radiating a stronger energy, will win. Make sure your positivity outweighs their negativity. Make sure your light outshines their shade. Point number 2, create an environment where toxic people cannot exist. So avoid playing by their rules, avoid playing to their advantages. They exist in a negative reality, and that is not where you exist. Reject their energy and create an environment that is inhospitable to them. If this toxic person is a cactus, be the Arctic tundra. And point number 3, call them out. Make it known that you are not the type of person that will tolerate them and all their issues. You need to draw the line and let it be known that you aren't someone that they can overtake. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Remy Ellis. I'll see you soon. Until then, stay well.